Alright, so today we have kind of a fun thing to unbox here. I'm thinking I'm gonna retool this second channel into sort of a more Skylander-centric channel, since that's one of my other big hobbies in addition to Bionicle. I've recently gotten back into collecting all the different individual figures and whatnot, especially for the first 3 games. So what I'm kind of thinking is I'm gonna do some videos kind of just documenting my journey collecting different figures and whatnot. And today what we have is like the first haul I'll be kind of showing off on camera here. This is a package that I got from the SCL shop, Skylanders character list, and that's a pretty reputable site. A lot of really great deals on there, so I went ahead and picked up, I believe, about 20 different figures. A lot of them were figures that were sort of like on sale at the time when I bought them. So I was able to get quite a few figures that I'm kind of missing from my collection, and yeah, so I think without further ado, let's go ahead and show each of them off one by one. I guess we'll start with this one here. This is Series 1 Chop Chop. I do own the Series 2, and this was a figure I never had before. So kind of a backstory in regards to my relation with Skylanders is I used to collect a lot of the figures when I was a kid, obviously, right? And then once I don't know, I turned about 11 or so, I kind of got caught up in this whole thing of oh, I'm too old for this now. I should get rid of all of them and move on to more mature games. So here's a Series 1 Stump Smash. I guess we'll just continue with the haul while I kind of tell my story here. But let's see, where was I? So I used to collect them when I was a kid, and because I'd kind of felt like I'd outgrown them a bit, I wound up selling the vast majority of my collection in order to buy a Xbox One. I raised about $400 selling my whole collection, which at the time consisted of about I don't know, definitely over 100 figures, I'd have to say, individual toys and whatnot. Of course, that's not all individual normal playable characters and whatnot. You had traps and other things like that kind of mixed in. But yeah, but then probably less than a year from when that happened, I very much kind of regretted my decision, and then I just kind of got back into collecting stuff, and sort of on and off for the past several years, I've kind of just been reaccumulating a lot of the old figures I had, as well as getting new ones that I never had in my collection before, like Sprocket here. Sprocket is kind of a neat design. I know she's kind of pretty bad in game, but yeah, that is kind of the thing about Skylander is, if you can't appreciate their gameplay, I think you can at least appreciate their design most of the time. So yeah. So that's the first 5 figures of the slot. Here's another one. Another thing I should kind of mention about my background with Skylanders is I've actually never played Spyro's Adventure, the game that I got into the series with, or I got into the, that's the right way of phrasing it. But the game that I got into the series with was Giants. So a lot of the figures that I wound up collecting were from Giants, and then later on Swap Force and Trap Team and stuff. So, I was never really around for the Spyro's Adventure days. Back when I was a kid, the only figures I, sort of wound up having were, I remember I got this one, triple pack that I came across at Toys R Us that had, Camo, Warnado, and I'm trying to remember the other one, Igniter, that's who it was. But, yeah, so those 3 were, the only Spyro's Adventure characters that I had in my, collection originally. So it's kind of cool to get some of these older figures you know, older versions of these characters that I, you know, had before. Then here's a Light Core Eruptor. Kind of a neat figure. This is another one I never had as a kid. I had the Series 2, and then I'm pretty sure I had the Series 3 one from Swap Force, but this one here is one that I never owned, so it's kind of neat. Pretty sure it's his like mouth there that lights up when you place him on the portal. And then here's another figure I never owned, and not just this figure, but this character in general, Lightning Rod. Not my favorite character in the world, but, you know, I think, you know, it'll be neat to test out his gameplay at some point. You know, I've been thinking too, like, the original whole purpose of this, like, second channel that I have was to do, like, gaming stuff, so, like, live streams and whatnot. So I'm thinking maybe at some point, in addition to these kind of collection videos, I might also live stream some of the actual games and stuff. And this here, by the way, is another figure I never had. This is Series 2 Sonic Boom. Pretty cool. And then this is one that I did used to have. This is Series 2 Trigger Happy. Currently what I have in my collection right now is the Series 3 one, with the big rocket. Pretty neat. And then to round out kind of the trilogy of Trigger Happies, if you will, you have the Series 1 from Spyro's Adventure. So yeah, now I have the Series 1, Series 2, and the Series 3. Yeah, and I know like the series variants can tend to be kind of controversial for some people, especially when it comes to someone like Gilgrunt, who notoriously has the most series variants, going all the way up to a Series 4. But yeah, because I mean, it is essentially just like the same character being resold to you 2, 3, maybe even 4 times, like in Gilgrunt's case. And, you know, while that is the case, I don't know. It is kind of cool getting multiple of like the same character, because, you know, with upgrade paths and whatnot, you can kind of just, you know, have multiple of the same Skylander, but each one has kind of different strategies and whatnot. And then right here we have Series 1 Whirlwind, and yet another figure I never owned. So yeah, he's pretty cool. Whirlwind's a pretty good Skylander from what I understand. I know she has kind of some like interesting stuff that you can do with like her rainbows. It has some kind of like healing ability. And speaking of Whirlwind, we also have the Series 2. Now all I'm missing in terms of her just like base variants is just the Series 3. I know you have like other, you know, variants like the Polar Whirlwind and the even more rare Chase variant, the Stone Whirlwinds, which I've heard before is like one of the most like rare Skylander figures ever. This here is this here is the only like magic item type thing that I got, this Scorpion Striker. I already have the Dragonfire Cannon, so I figured I'd just kind of pick this up. So now I have both of the kind of battle, you know, pack things from Giants. So that's cool. And then we have Series 1 Bash. I absolutely love Bash's design. I know the Series 2 is a bit hard to find, but yeah, this is a nice figure. I always kind of like the Spyro's Adventure characters. Like, I know they aren't like as high quality as some of like the other figures they released like later on. Like, there's a pretty noticeable gap in quality, I think, between like, you know, Series 1 figure from Spyro's Adventure and like the figures they released later on in like Imaginators and whatnot. And while that is the case, I do think these figures kind of have a certain level of charm to them. Might just be like nostalgia clouding my better judgment, but I don't know. I like them. And then, yeah, I think this is the final figure. This is one that I was kind of excited to reacquire. This is Light Core Prism Break, which, in my personal opinion, is the absolute best out of all the Light Core figures. If you don't know, he has these little crystal things here that light up green when you place them on the portal, and it's a really cool, bright, fun effect that I really enjoy a lot. Now, in terms of Prism Break's gameplay, I've heard a lot of people say that he's isn't that great, but, you know, like I've kind of mentioned before with some other characters, you know, while they might not be the best in the game, I think, you know, Prison Break has a really awesome design. And I think this is probably his best figure out of like the 4 or so like main ones he had. You know, the Series 1, Series 2, this, and then the Series 3 from Swap Force. So yeah, I think that's all of the figures for this little lot. We got 20 different figures. I'll kind of just quickly move them all into frame here so you can see the entire lot here of what we got. Yeah, so this is 20 figures. Most of these I got at a discounted price. I think like the most I paid for like an individual figure was about like $3 or so, which I'm pretty sure was the Lightcore Eruptor. Yeah, a lot of these figures I got for like, you know, $1, $2 or whatever. So yeah, this all amounted to about like $40, which, I mean, if you account for like how much it would have cost back in like, you know, when they're actually like releasing like in stores, right? Each of these was like, you know, 10, maybe like $12 in the case of the Lightcore figures, right? So, you know, this is a pretty, you know, good lot of Skylanders figures. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with these now. I don't know. I need to find more shelf space because I have a shelf right now where I keep all of my like Skylanders figures, right? I actually have a couple shelves, like 2 of them, and I kind of split them up between each kind of like trilogy of games, so to speak. So the first 3 games are kind of on the top shelf, and then the other ones are on the bottom. And I am sort of running out of room on the top shelf there, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to find a way to make room for, you know, this new influx of figures. Yeah, I'm very excited to play with all of them. I'm excited to add them to my collection, and yeah. So thank you guys for watching. That's gonna be all for this video. Just so you guys know, I'm not really gonna be as I guess like active over on this channel still as I am on my main like Bionicle channel. This is kind of just a fun like little side thing I wanted to do, just to, I don't know, have fun. So yeah, but yeah, thank you guys for watching, and this is Pilot signing off.